One day, some Pharisees and teachers of religious law arrived from Jerusalem to see Jesus. They noticed that some of his disciples failed to follow the Jewish ritual of hand washing before eating. The Jews, especially the Pharisees, do not eat until they have poured water over their cupped hands, as required by their ancient traditions. Similarly, they don't eat anything from the market until they immerse their hands in water. This is but one of many traditions they have clung to, such as their ceremonial washing of cups, pitchers, and kettles. So the Pharisees and teachers of religious law asked him, "Why don't your disciples follow our age-old tradition? They eat without first performing the hand-washing ceremony." Jesus replied, "You hypocrites! Isaiah was right when he prophesied about you. For he wrote, 'These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Their worship is a farce, for they teach man-made ideas as commands from God.' For you ignore God's law and substitute your own tradition." Then Jesus called to the crowd to come and hear. "All of you listen," he said, "and try to understand. It's not what goes into your body that defiles you. You are defiled by what comes from your heart. That defiles you. For from within, out of a person's heart, come evil thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, greed, wickedness, deceit, lustful desires, envy, slander, pride, and foolishness. All these vile things come from within. They are what defile you."
Once again, this weekend's gospel recounts the frustration of Jesus with the scribes and Pharisees. They continue with their legalism and totally miss the reality of the greatest of all commandments: loving God with one's whole being and loving God as one loves self. They get so caught up in little man-made laws and prescriptions amidst their own self-righteousness. Jesus quotes the prophet Isaiah to call them, and maybe you and me, to task. He says, "This people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines human precepts." Elsewhere in the gospel, Jesus also said of the Pharisees and scribes that they lay heavy burdens on the people, but don't lift a finger to help them with their burdens. Pray God you and I don't imitate that approach with one another, but rather help lift the burdens and struggles of others. Our second reading from the letter of James, which has been called a mini retreat at times, James is quite clear and in line with the teaching and challenge of Jesus. James says to us, "All good giving and every gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no alteration or shadow caused by change. He willed to give us birth by the word of truth, that we may be a kind of first fruits of his creatures." James would have us heed the challenge of Jesus and not offer merely lip service in our service to God. He says, "Humbly welcome the word that has been planted in you and is able to save your souls." The Word made flesh, Jesus, so many times called and still calls us to humble service, to laying down our lives for others. And to quote a modern day saying, to put our money where our mouth is. James goes on with this challenge. Be doers of the word and not hearers only, deluding yourselves. Religion that is pure and undefiled before God and the Father is to care for orphans and widows in their affliction, and to keep oneself unstained by the world. In reflecting on the challenge of Jesus and James this weekend, and our call to be of service out of love for others, be they widows, orphans, family or friends, or strangers near and far, I offer all of us two little brief but powerful calls to duty. The late Jesuit Father Anthony de Mello, in his book, The Song of the Bird, calls us to avoid offering mere lip service. He says, in the Gospel of St. John, we read, "The Word became flesh. He came to dwell among us. Through him all things came to be. No single thing was created without him. All that came to be was alive with his light of all. And that light of life, the light shines in the dark, and the darkness has never quenched it. Look steadily at the darkness. It won't be long before you see the Word. The Word became flesh. He came to dwell among us." It is distressing to see the frantic efforts of those who seek to change flesh into words again. Words, words, words. So were the Pharisees caught up with their mere lip service to Jesus. What about us? Finally, the folks who gather anonymously to support and help each other in their struggles using the famous 12 steps have a great saying that applies to us that Jesus and St. James would clearly approve of following. So their challenge to us today: don't talk the talk unless you're willing to walk the walk. Amen.
I, the Lord of sea and sky, I have heard my people cry, all who dwell in dark and sin, my hand will save. I who made the stars of night, I will make their darkness bright. Who will bear my light to them? Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I, the Lord of wind and flame, I will tend the poor and lame. I will set a feast for them, my hand will save. Finest bread Whom shall I send?